Welcome back everybody. Today we're going to be showing you the most effective and best way to use cheap cards and cheap decks to get off a few hit points on towers or absolutely take the towers out themselves. So stick around for that. So you want to get off a few hit points of each tower just to get yourself ahead in the match or even completely take out their tower. Well, at the end of this video you will know a few tips on how you can do that, how you can make the opponent use their cards that get rid of the cheap cards, and then you can use more cheap cards to take out their towers. Welcome back everybody, it is Skwobble here, and today I'm going to be showing you the most cheap, effective way to use cheap cards in order to take down opponents' towers or just get off a fair few hit points. So as you're about to see right here, right off the bat, minion horde on one side, spear goblins, goblins on the other side. He countered that pretty well, but not good enough because I still got hit points off his tower, which obviously that's what you want to do in this game, right? You want to get some hit points off. So basically what you have to do is everyone carries arrows and fireballs, wizards and splash damage cards that just absolutely smash cheap cards. So what you have to do is use your minion horde or use your goblin barrel so they will arrows it or use their wizard on one side, and then you go a complete push on the other side with all your other cheap cards. And as you see right there, I threw in my goblin barrel and he freezes it, so that gave me the time to use my skeletons, my 1 Alexa skeletons, which got all the way to the tower and took down almost 300 hit points. And I honestly have never seen the 1 Alexa skeletons take any damage to a tower. So now, as you're going to see here, minion horde, he distracts with an Alexa collector and then a musketeer in the back, whilst on the other side, my goblins, spear goblins and archers went to work on his other tower. So now, about 1.5 minutes into the game, both his towers are pretty much rocketable, but I don't have the rocket because all I have is cheap cards. And so now I use my skeleton army on one side, I drop my goblins in on that Valkyrie, stupid move by me. He just arrows that skeleton army, and now I know he doesn't have his arrows in his deck. He's got to use at least 3 or 4 more cards for him to get it back around into his deck. So I get rid of that hog rider right there. He does a really late freeze. I go push with the spear goblins. They get a few more hit points out before that Valkyrie pumps them. He puts in his goblins and his Valkyrie. I throw my goblin barrel on the opposite side. Boom, there you go. There's 1 crown. He arrows that right there. I drop in my minion horde, so he doesn't really have anything to counter that minion horde with besides the freeze. They take out the tower, and now it's just down to his king tower. I throw my goblin barrel in. He decides to go his hog rider just to get that 1 crown. So I use my skeleton army whilst his hog rider is still going to work. Does not matter because the skeleton army took out the tower. And that is pretty crazy. Like, I've never seen a skeleton army take any hit points off. I've never really seen the skeletons being used that much. So here we are in the second replay. This one I only get 1 crown, but you still see the way that you can attack and offend with this cheap deck strategy. You don't have to just use all the cheap cards. You can use a few cheap cards to do this, but you just got to get rid of their cards. So as you see there, minion horde gets arrowed, then I re-mirror the minion horde again, and he doesn't have arrows, but he does distract with the cannon, and I still have 2 minions going to work at that tower. Chuck my goblin barrel in, and look at that, almost past a quarter health right there, just less than a quarter health actually, and that's within about 45 seconds. So now I go my skeleton army. He does have his arrows back in hand, which he doesn't use. He uses his minion horde, so I counter that with my minion horde and just let the spear goblins go to work on the tower. I re-drop in my minion horde, not my minion horde, sorry, my spear goblins. They can take out a few hit points whilst he goes with his hog rider on the opposite side. Goblins both going up the other lanes like that. distract with the 1 elixir skeletons whilst the goblins got a few hit points off. His tower is now down to 168, which pretty much is the win in the bag if I have a fireball, or even that goblin barrel if he doesn't arrows them right away. So now he's playing real defensively, dropping in his cannon. You see that? That was a well-played move right there. If I waited for him to arrows my skeleton army, then throw my goblin barrel, that goblin barrel would have 100% taken out that tower. But I'd accidentally moved too quickly, and as you see, I didn't get the tower down. You can't move too quickly with this. You got to kind of play it safe, know what their cards are, wait for them to use their cheap deck offensive cards, and like that, like the arrows. So now would be the perfect time for me to go ahead and goblin barrel on the other side like that with my minion horde going up the other side. He counters that with the spear goblins and the goblins, but I do just get the crown. So now we've got 30 seconds left, and I have to defend obviously. So I drop in all my cheap cards because the cheap cards are just so easy. You can always use them. There's no problem at all. He then arrows my minion horde again, whilst my archers and my skeletons are doing a little bit of work. 10 seconds left. Skeleton army in. Goblin barrel over the side, and watch, he counters that with the cannon in the back. I've never seen that before. But yeah, that is basically the way that you can counter like the cheap card, distraction cards, whatever you call them, like such as arrows, fireballs, minion hordes, all that. You get that out of their cards, out of their deck. Sorry, you get those cards out of their deck, and then you can pump them with literally the cheapest deck ever, or just cheap cards. But that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got some tips from it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And peace out.